Ajma. Hi, everyone. And Calder, to answer your question, I am still working on sorting through that. I did just update it, so now it should come through as Restream Bot. Once it decides to fix itself again randomly, we'll have duplicate YouTube messages, but I at least know how to fix that. So for now, we're just going to deal with the Restream Bot being the one to show up in the stream chat. But it should let your messages show up too, so that's good. And hi, Eternal! Ooh, Lemonade, good job on the 25 stream streak. That is quite the high number. And yes, so today we're going to be working on making the 3D lobsters, so I don't know if we'll have time for any liquid cat stuff. I don't really have that one high on my priority list, I'll be honest. There is technically a fluid simulation in Blender, but I don't think that's what you want for that kind of thing. It'd probably be better to make like a slime cat, which was somewhere on my list. Yeah, Calder has been asking for a liquid cat. And yes, I do currently have my model here, because the lobsters that we're going to be modeling today will be supposed to be sitting on my shoulder. So I figure having myself in here already as kind of like a size template and position template would be great. And soft body is more, it's more like Jello. So that would be Jello cat, not liquid cat. Which, that would be more slime cat, which was, as I mentioned, was somewhere on my list. Wait, Eternal, you also have a 25 streak? Man, that is crazy. I really should set that up to have a proper alert, but I don't know where that one would fall on the alert. You're gonna try and follow along? That's cool, that's cool. Alright, so let me collapse thing, and I've got this nicely set up to where I can just hide or show the preview one. Yes, Jello is in fact jelly. So we're gonna start off, and we're gonna add a cube, and we'll just call this one Lobster. Now we go into edit mode, scale this down, and I should be able to position this on my shoulder, and this could be like the main lobster body. That'll be kind of like the stand-in for that. Probably want that to be scaled along the y-axis a little bit. So it's probably more like that. And then I've just realized that I don't really have a lobster reference up. That might that might come back to bite me a little bit. Hang on, I have an idea. I have an idea for a lobster reference. If I do where is it? Where is it? In this one, under emotes. And then if I drag in this one. Oh, that might be a little bit big. Let me shrink that down. Oh, we've got the start of something. There we go. Definitely gonna drag him back, but that should keeping Fred on the stream should help. Or maybe we put him up here. Maybe that'd be cute. Just put Fred and Frank at the top of the thing. Let me reposition that, and then I can drag in Fred, or sorry, we have Fred there. Drag in Frank. There we go. Scale that down. Yep. Big Frank. Too big of Frank. There we go. Now we've got our lovely lobsters up in the top, so we have a nice preview reference thing to use. Are they still a bit too big, or are they good? I'm doing good, Mush. How are you? And my model does kind of update in real time. I don't know what you're talking about update-wise. Alright, so now we need to figure out about this thing. So probably if we select these edges and then do a bevel, that'll get us like a good portion of the way. Hang on, was bevel B? No, B is box. What was bevel tool again? It's been a minute. There it is, that one. So if we bevel that edge, that kind of brings that nice and smoother. Oh, yeah, no, it doesn't update live like that. It's an entirely different setup. So then if we grab this one, do extrude. Probably about there, scale that up. So this is going to turn into more of the head. Like that, scale that a bit down. Yeah, that is a lot of cat pod. Calder, they're talking about the Twitch has a replay for the past year and keeps track of a lot of crazy stats like that. I think like that should be pretty close. And then we could do extrude that one. Scoop that down. Switch to edge mode. Drag this back so it kind of hugs the shoulder a little bit better. Then grab this face, shrink that down a bit. Maybe even rotate so that it kind of follows the curve a bit more naturally. And then extrude out from that point. Have that continue. How many segments do these guys have? Like 4 beyond the thing? I think I've gone at a little bit of a weird angle with that. I'm not sure that's a bad thing though. Maybe turn on proportional editing, scale X, shrink that down so that it kind of helps taper it a bit. There we go. So now it's wider than it is flat. Change music might. I don't know how I'd function that though. Because it would be cool to have like a skip the song type one where it's just whatever else I have in the queue. But then I want to stray away from ones that rely on me to do it. So it's kind of that weird balance of figuring out how to lay it out. I mean, yes, I could manually change the music. I'm more looking for rewards that can trigger automatically and that don't require me to step in every time. I need to turn off the proportional edit for that. Scale that one down a bit. There we go. Maybe rotate that to be a bit more even there. So we've now got pseudo shape. I think we need to drag, we'll grab head, turn back on proportional edit, and then that angle, up that a little bit. There we go, that's more the shape we're after. What is going on with that though? Why do we have an edge there? Dissolve edge? No? What has happened here? Why do we have this extra edge? Eh? Why are you an edge here? You can select the faces and dissolve those? Let me select both faces, I guess, and then delete. Dissolve face. No, dissolve face doesn't work. We're just gonna delete face. There we go. I must have done some weird fill somewhere that it was just not expecting. And then if we select the edges, we can just fill from that. There we go. That looks a lot better. Yeah, I don't know what happened with those faces. Yours is corner askew? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Do you mean like one of these are just down or something? But part of my thing is just not particularly caring if it's not fully perfect, because we're aiming for a organic thing, so it wouldn't be perfectly straight anyways. So I'm not too fussed if our guy is just a little bit off to the side or something. That should be fine. Yeah, at 15 o'clock has followed. Thank you for the follow. Let's see. Maybe we want to scoot these faces down more. Yeah, there we go. That looks more in line with what we expect. And then I want to beef up these a little bit. So maybe I do an extrude scale a bit, and then do vertex smooth. No, that don't work. So we'll undo that. Actually, if I select edge and then bevel one of these, is that going to do what I want it to, or is that going to do something else? Not quite what I want. But I think that is something I can work with. Because if I do that on each of these segments, I can get equal sections and then do a loop cut on each of them. And then if I select that loop cut with the Alt Select, and then do Alt S for scale around the thing, and turn off the proportional editing, there we go. Now we have our nice lovely segments. Yeah, I do in fact have two tails. They're a whole lot easier to see in like the Q&A shorts that I do. I like having those, having my tails curled up next to me and stuff in those. And we'll select these two top edges and then do a bevel on those. Oh yeah, that's definitely starting to come together. So we now have this silliness of a face down here that has a silly number of vertices, but this one is a very easy fix of just, we do a join right here, and now we have two quads. But we're probably gonna have that same problem on this side. Yes, we do. So just join that, J for join. There we go. That has solved our topology problem. It kind of looks like we have a croissant on our shoulder. The 24-hour time is used in the USA as well, primarily by the military. So it's not just a, like, other country thing. Though I do recommend keeping where you live close to your chest, especially on the internet. I mean, that is also fair colder. At one point, I just got curious and started using military time. Good luck on your exam, Orange. Yours looks like a broken croissant. That's fair. It is a little bit of a silly one. I think I want to pull in that tail a little bit more. I think I might pull it in from this point, though. And what are you questioning, Calder? That there. Shrink down that one so that can pull in there. You messed up everything and didn't bevel properly. Yeah, that's an easy mistake to make. Yeah, Eternal is following along because they're learning Blender as well. There we go. And then I've dragged that in. Maybe I want to shrink the head a little bit, so we'll do a scale X, pull that down like that. Torn on whether I like the fat head or, oops, wrong one. Hang on. Rendered, I think. Oh, whoops, rendered was the wrong one. Solid, there we go. I forgot that Control Shift Z or whatever doesn't quite work on this. Alright, I think that works a bit. And then, what if we do rotate? Oh, actually that helps a lot, just rotating that. Blender is, it has quite a bit of a learning curve, but it is great. It is, you can do a lot with it. I think I want to bevel those lower edges too. So I think we'll do edge select on these, pull out the bevel tool again, drag that out, and then we'll do vertex, join those two to get back our quads, and do the same on this one. I mean, you can put what you currently have in the Discord, and I could try and see if I could figure out where you went wrong. We could turn this into a teaching opportunity. Though I am kind of just doing stuff while I'm talking. Scale X, bring that closer together, I think. There we go. You have an old laptop and can't download modeling software without making a laptop slower. That's fair. Yeah, I've not tried to do liquid simulations in Blender for a reason. They don't exactly seem like the easiest thing to me. I think we might do a loop cut there, and then do scale X, kind of bring out more body. And then let's try a shade smooth, see how that looks. Pretty good. I think we need to do a quick mark sharp on all of these segments to make sure this stays readable. Edge, mark sharp. And then, oh, I forgot that we need to do mesh, normals, reset vectors, should help it, but we need to go clear some of those sharp. Yes, you should make a showcase. You can actually name the showcase the same. You can name the showcase the same as the stream. And, oh yay, head pats make it better. Oh, right. I was like, you can name the showcase the same as the stream, and then anyone else who is trying to follow along can also do it. They can also put what they're doing in there. Kind of turn it into Bob Ross tutorial, but not at that level. Box time? I don't have box. No one has redeemed box. Edge, clear those sharp. Actually, it'd be a heck of a lot easier to just clear all sharp and then go back and add back the sharp we want. Edge, mark sharp. There we go. That looks more correct. Bob Moss? Nah, I don't think of Bob Moss either. I think let's do one more loop cut vertically. And then scale just Z. That should help smooth out that curve a little bit. That is strangely looking well. Still haven't even added the eyes yet, though. That's just the basic body shape. Still missing tail, eyes, claws, legs, whole bunch of stuff. Yes, this is a good stream for popcorn. It is very chill stream. Though I am hesitating a little bit to give Eternal some time to put it in showcase. See if I can't figure out what's going on with theirs. I did kind of rapid fire this, didn't I? That's a different one. We don't even have the Christmas music playing right now. Ooh, right. I just remember that I still have to do the little the whisker thingies. What do you call those? The little lobster mustache, but not mustache. You can't make a cube full? Have you broken gravity? Though I assume you're talking about in Blender, and Blender's physics is a whole other thing. There's a reason I don't do physics. I've done physics sims before in Blender. It is useful for like modeling skirts and stuff, but it's a little bit rough to figure out how to do the thing. You're probably actually looking for a rigid body physics simulation, but I've not messed with those. I've only done cloth simulations, which are a whole different thing. There is a lot of tutorials out there for how to do that kind of stuff, though. Liquid wouldn't help you with cube, I don't think. And that'd be fluid. I don't know, I'm confused. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna add a mouth. If we grab this edge, and then... I mean, there is liquid. Hi, Crisp. There we go, hydrated. Things are in fact well. Stream has just started and we've already got lobster body. I don't know if I've ever actually seen a Blender manual now that you mention it. You're struggling to get round things in Blender in general? Yeah, it can be a little bit tricky to get things feeling right. That feels a little bit like a mouth, but I think it needs to be a bit more smiley because Fred and Frank are generally pretty happy to be here. So we'll do that there, and then if we grab this corner on both sides. Oh, you did put it in showcase? Ooh, let me go see. There it is. You got pretty close. You followed along actually quite well. It looks like you're missing the extra cuts that I did along the side and the top, which I then scaled on the X and Z axis each. And then I think it looks like you also haven't angled your head down, because I basically did a loop select on these faces and then rotated to get that. What's the wrong order? And yeah, actually, Lemon, it is weird. I've never seen an ad for a microwave now that you mention it. There we go. Now we have a little bit of a smile going on. I don't know if that's quite their smile, but we have something. Let's try selecting these ones. Shift, grab those. And then move that down so that it's more like that. That seems more like the mouth that we're expecting. Then we can Alt. Yes, the roll command does do calculations. Extrude that back a little bit. Maybe even scale that down. Oh, we want to turn off the thing there. Extrude. Scale Z up. Lift that up a bit more. Pull that back a bit. And now we have the inside of the mouth starting to get modeled. I think these two need to be pulled in though. So scale those down. Scoot them further back, probably. There we go. Not too bad. These probably need to go up. These should all go down, I think. So we'll drop that down as far as it'll let us. Are these two fine? Yeah, I think those two are fine. And then select all of those, extrude along the y-axis, pull that back. And to make this easier, we're gonna do a vertex smooth vertices, so that should pull everything nice and close together. Lift that up a little bit. Oh, these ones should all actually go down. Oops, didn't mean to deselect those. Starting to get somewhere. I think these outer edges need a little bit more work though, so we'll pull those back like that. And now we have a more reasonable mouth. Oh, here's the Christmas music I mentioned. Extrude on Y again. Vertex smooth vertices again. Should bring it a bit together. We'll actually do a scale Y down so that it kind of starts tapering out a little bit. Extrude Y. Vertex smooth vertices again. This time ramp it up. And then probably one more. Oops. Extrude. Oop. Got something wrong there. There we go. Extrude Y. Vertex smooth vertices again. Ramp that up. Scale that down. There we go. Now we're starting to look at the end of our mouth. So we're gonna do, I think, one more to get the back as I want it. Since lobsters have a proper mouth, could we have a redeem to feed the lobsters? That might be tricky. I have specifically gotten rid of the redeem to feed me a cookie. Actually, no, I think I still have that, don't I? No one uses it if I have it. I don't remember whether I have it or don't have it. But it's a bit finicky on the hitbox for feeding myself a cookie. So I imagine it's going to be very similar when it comes to the lobsters. It doesn't exist. Yeah, that's because it was too much trouble. Extrude Y. A little bit. Vertex smooth again. Smooth that out. Scale down. There we go. That's probably about where we want that. So we can do a fill there. Do a join off these two. Join off these two. That creates a nice center point that we can drag out so it's in line. And then each of those are not quads. They're silly shapes. If we do a join here and a join here, that does turn them into quads. So I think that's the way we're going to do that. And then we can even pull that out a little bit more. Try and get it a bit rounder. Not that anyone's going to see like that in the back of the mouth, but we now have fully modeled mouth for Lobster Friend. I think I want to grab these 2 points, turn that on, set that to connected only, so it's not going to get the top part as much. Yeah, that should work. And we'll do there, and then if we do a scale X, we should be able to pull that in to get the lower jaw feeling like it sits inside that upper jaw. That's the goal anyways. There we go. This one would be Frank, but I'm only planning on modeling one, so it's going to be both of them. Pull that out a bit. There we go. The question I now have is, do they have the little cat mouth? Or do they have, like, more of that kind of mouth? I have noticed there is a little bit of clipping on these, so we'll grab these two, turn that off, pull that in a smidge. That should help with that. We also may want to add another thing around there. Yeah, rolling pie doesn't work too well. You have to roll it at a specific angle. I could lower it, get that kind of curved more. How do you get the pretty colors? So the pretty colors I've done using a matte cap on the viewport shading. So I have it set to the solid viewport display, which is the second of the circles. Then set it to matte cap, and then you click on this sphere and you can change which one you're seeing. So you could have this one if you're trying to see like any weirdness in the shape, so you can see how it has weird curves here. Or you can set it to ones where you're just seeing shiny, or just change it to matte cap, which is the one I like using. Let's try grabbing these two again. Bring that up That doesn't read very well from the front, does it? I don't know who David is. Turn that off, scale that down to pull those closer together. There we go, that should help with the clipping a little bit. I think we will add another edge there to kind of help with that a bit. I think the equivalent would be this one, just to keep it even. We'll do that. Normally I'd want like loops around the mouth, but since this one shouldn't be super crazy. Actually, we can. Oh, that just does the inside. Never mind.
Yes, I want to be there. I want to see this.
Since this one's just going to be open and closed, if anything, and not more blend shaped, I'm not super worried about doing the extra stuff. And I forgot my starting soon is on here.
I want to be there.
Remove that from the queue. There we go. You went hello earlier. Oh, there was a David. Hi, David. Yes, I do want to be here. Oh man, you timed that perfectly on my end, Eternal. Alright, grab these ones, move those up to smooth this out. There we go, that looks a heck of a lot smoother. Grab these two, lift up. Oh, no, I didn't mean to grab all of them. I just want to grab, the two. Hydrating. Check off that hydrate. And then, oh, did this one not go up? Did that get moved weirdly? It did get moved weirdly. Oh, why are those not doing that correctly? Mesh. Snap to symmetry. Doesn't work on anything, so we're going to select that object. Object, set origin, origin to geometry. That should stick the origin in the middle of it. Then mesh, snap to symmetry. There we go. Now we've got a symmetrical boy. I mean, we do have Big Fred and Frank on the top of this stream. Why are you still not following the same one? Are you even symmetrical? You are not symmetrical. Where the heck is the origin then? Mesh, snap to symmetry, threshold, lower threshold maybe? Try that. No, that don't work. Symmetry is hard. Yeah, symmetry is a little bit weird. What we're gonna do is we're gonna select that side, or that edge that goes all the way around, because this should be our center point. So we're gonna hide that. Then we're going to select all the faces on one side, hit delete, delete those vertices. And now that we have only half of it, we can make sure that we add a modifier to make it mirrored. And we don't want it mirrored over the axis, we want it mirrored over itself. No. Merge by distance wouldn't really help in this case because that doesn't fix symmetry. So we're just gonna Alt-H, we're gonna drag this until it's at the center, and then we'll move it back to the side once we're happy with it. Just like that. Clipping, no clipping. If we do this, scale X0, that should make that in line. And now we should have a perfectly edged one. There we go. And I think turn clipping on, apply that. There we go. That looks like it worked. I do need to add emotes to YouTube's side now that I've got the membership set up. Magician? I just have learned a lot about how these things function. It doesn't mean I understand why, I just know how to work with it. Now if I turn that... And it's still not mirrored. I've mirrored it and it's still not mirrored. Okay, object, origin to geometry should fix our origin. And now if we do the snap to symmetry again. Alright, so it's already symmetrical. Hey, now it's working properly. So now we can properly lift these points up. There we go, that feels better. This is why you don't talk big game when working on Blender, though. It hears you and it decides to prove you wrong. How have I ended up with a triangle there, though? It should not be triangles. What the heck has happened here? What has happened here? We're just gonna delete vertice and delete vertice, and then we're just gonna fix this ourselves. Fill that, join there, and then these should be split there, join on those. Wait, no, that's not how that works. Join on those? That would technically not be triangles anymore. How did I have this originally? I have, what? Oh, you're putting random math that doesn't mean anything in chat. Okay. That one was a little bit hard to read, Lemonade. I think I want to add couple more edge loops here, but I've clearly got some craziness going on there. What have I done? Because that should be loop there. How did I even do this? I vaguely know what I've done, but not how. Because it should be the same as like this beveled edge, which just has that nice setup. So how did I lose that nice setup? I think it's dissolve that vertice, and then how? How did I get that split there? Was there... I'm pretty sure you can control that, Lemonade. You could at least turn it off. Alright, we're just gonna delete those edges again. How the frick did I do this? Extrude those. There we go, and then it was fill between those. And then you have these which fill. And that's how we fix the topology. And I also have very few recommendations on how you actually learn to fix topology other than practice. It is usually something janky and silly. Okay, thank you for going back to normal, Lemonade. I personally don't like free topology. It doesn't always understand how it functions or like how you work with it. I've had it make like spirals and other weird things and just not be good. That's why I prefer to do it manually. Let's drag that back. Probably a bit back further than that. Nope. Like there. Let's select these ones, pull those out a little bit. Underbite. I'm trying to go for a little bit of an overbite, because I think they have a tiny bit of one. And we're kind of there. It is looking more like their usual smile. So I think I want to do... select all of these points and just do a smooth on it. Vertex, smooth vertices. There we go. That's looking more like it. And then maybe have this point come down a little bit. That feels like them. You have cheesy chips. Very nice. 2 curves to use for the antennas. I could use curves. Or I could just do it manually, which is what I normally do. I am the type who just doesn't really like curves for some reason. Like, they have a time and place. I definitely should get used to using them more for stuff like that. But I can just extrude and make it go where I want, and it works. But I think we're gonna start with the eyes instead. Because I think body is more or less done. The actual main body might need a little bit though. So, because if we lift this up, that'll probably help. And then we could even, I think, adding another loop cut there, lift that up to give them a bit more of a natural curve. There we go, that looks a lot better. And then we could select these vertices, vertex smooth a little bit, then alt scale to get the beef back up. I don't know if I like that or not. I think it's actually just these ones that feel like they need a little bit of work. So we select that point to that point, and then drag that in. That'll probably help. That has helped quite a bit already. Woolly lobster. I was actually thinking about putting fur on them. Because I was thinking of doing them like plushies. But I'm not sure. Plushy Fred and Frank would be adorable. Alright, so then we want to add sphere. Probably keep that as like an 8x8 to start with. We can change it from there. Up, scale down. Oop. Make sure that we keep that selected. So then we want to scale everything but Z, so we'll do Shift Z. That's probably about right. Shrink that down a bit more. Face. Shade smooth. Make sure that we don't forget to do the reset vectors on that. Now eye placement is going to be a thing. We'll do a mesh separate selection so that we have the eye separate, and then add a mirror modifier. And do it. Oh, it already did it over the lobster. I was kind of surprised. We'll just make sure that it's over the lobster. There we go. So now we can fiddle with these all we like, and they'll stay symmetrical. Probably like that. That's probably correct placement. Actually, no. If we're doing it based off of our previous image, then something more there, I think, is correct. And then we could do add a UV sphere again. Shrink that down, lift that up. Shrink. Yeah, lobsters are very weird. It is also very weird to try and do lobsters without an actual picture of a lobster. Just, that might generally be recommended. That's not what I'm doing, but... face shade smooth on that one. Mesh, normals, reset vectors just to be sure. So grab those 2 points. Turn on that. That should allow us to do the little divots in them. Lift, center those around the eyes. Scale so that they're a bit more in line. That, and then... trying to get something that'll help them kind of bridge into the face a little bit easier. Not sure that's how I want them, though. And that is correct, Lemonade. Maybe we lift those up a bit now. I think I might need a picture of an actual lobster. How do lobster eyes actually look? Nothing like this. Yeah, lobsters are super weird. I mean, what I've got kind of makes sense for cartoony lobster. So I think we might be good to just roll with it. The music had some good timing then. I think we probably want like a bit smaller eyes. Maybe even shrink these down that a bit. We can also do L mesh separate by selection. So we'll apply that, then do a data transfer from the body, and then we want to do face data, I believe, from the projected face interpolated, or no, was it the face corner data? Yes, face corner data, mapping, and nearest face interpolated, custom normals. Because this is what we did to make the bird body help. Yes, you can roll for Frank. And sure, you can help him roll. I don't know if fixing the normals like that is what I want. Uh, 15. What was the assist? Hmm. 10. Okay, definitely enough for Frank then. There we go. We got Frank now. Here's nice interpolated. We'll apply that, then normals, mesh, normal, smooth vectors, raise that up. Does that help a little bit? Sorta, not really. Mesh normals, reset vectors, change it back to normal. I think that looks a little bit better. Maybe we select that one, scale up from that point, so that they're a little bit more of a unique shape. That helps, I think. And then, how do we want to do their whiskers is the next question. Probably do it as part of the body, add cube. Scale that down, up, scale, drag over, up, over. Looks like a worm right now. Well, it doesn't have claws or anything yet, so that does make sense. Alright, and then mesh, separate by selection. This one, add modifier, mirror on Lobster. There we go. So now we can extrude this one into the face. And then we'll do this. How do we want this to go? So probably out forward first. Maybe we have them go up and then down? I don't think that works, Eternal. Take that, start pulling that back. And then extrude. Pull that back more. Rotate that around. It's gonna look more like mustaches on these guys now, but I think that's gonna be cute. So we probably want these to end like about there. And then if we add another loop cut here, we can then drag that in at that point, give it a bit more of a fun curve to it. Maybe even rotate that way. I completely forgot about the villager noise in this one. There we go. This one. Pull that out like that. Got a little bit of silliness going on here, but nothing we can't fix. Man, that is some whiplash from the music choices, though. No, these are lobsters, not shrimp. Mesh. No, edge subdivide is what we need now. And then vertex smooth. There we go. That brings it more into curve style. And then select this innermost one. Make sure that we've got that on. There we go. And then, where are the music names? Are they not on? Oh, hang on. I think I minimized the thing. There we go. Now they should be back. Thank you for keeping me on top of that, though. I think we'll actually go into sculpting mode to tweak this bit. Because I want this to be a smoother kind of pull to it.
Okay, be a bad boy and watch me find it out for myself.
Chat's still there. Okay. Face, shade smooth, mesh, normals, reset vectors. There we go. So how is that for lobster ones? It's out? What do you mean it's out? Oh, is my stream down again? No? Am I good? Okay, well, Eternal's still talking about the distinguished gentleman, so I assume stream is fine? Got a bit worried for a second. I don't know what's going on with chat, but that's kind of normal. Okay. And as long as things are functioning fine, we're good. Oop, I'm on the wrong layer. This one. Sculpting. This is probably a time where I want to raise the radius, so I have a bigger thing I'm messing with. That's fair, Eternal. Thank you for checking. Smooth that like that. Smooth things a bit more. And then we could use the inflate to get some more shape in these. Oops. Solid. There we go. Keita Bunny? I mean, I could do Keita Bunny right now. Do you want to see Keita Bunny? You could shapeshift for Keita Bunny. I have a way. Keidakat is a little bit more difficult. I keep accidentally doing that. And then lift this edge up. Do I need to go into edit mode and rotate that? Smooth. Oop. Didn't mean to smooth that much. Yeah, the face would be extremely cursed on a Keita cabinet. That's one of the reasons why I haven't done it yet. I feel like I need some more loop cuts on this. There we go. It's a little bit better. I'm almost tempted to pull it forward more though. Actually, if I grab that point, and then make sure I've got that on, rotate. Good. So now, if I do a rotate this way, we can get that to come forward more. It doesn't quite get this point forward, which is kind of what I want. Maybe I feel like we're losing the smile with that placement though. Because I want this forward, but I want like this back, I guess. But that also feels wrong. Well, not entirely wrong. We then do that, bring that out, that, bring that out. That does kind of help smooth out that. So maybe that's what we need? That is one way I could do Keidakat. I do have some ideas for Keidakat. Oop, shoot, I didn't mean to hide that, okay. Yeah, I think that has a pretty good style from all directions. And it's pretty readable what that is, I think. think I will add UV sphere, shrink up, over, shrink that even further, face, shade smooth, mesh, normals, reset vectors, shrink further, that point, scale, shrink that down, Z, like that, shrink, rotate that way, rotate that way. There we go. That should help with some of the blending on it, I think. Though that might be a bit much. You think there's a lump on my torso that shouldn't be there. What are you talking about? Oh. I see what's happened. It's frickin' this that got messed up in the sculpt mode. We'll just fix this for now. Perks of being a shapeshifter. Just no. Oh, did I miss a Kona in chat? Actually, maybe this would be a good chance for that mesh separate selection. Apply the mirror. Oh, hi gold. Here we go. Hydrated. Hydrating again. Here we go. Oh, right. I forgot the thing. Hang on. Ba-ba-ba-ba. I think put that as there. Ooh, head pat. Oh, head pat done. Hi, Kona. You were gonna type something that happened, but you don't know if you should. Well, if it doesn't give away personal information, then you might be safe. Might. I don't know what it is. Ooh, what you gonna make? What food? That is fair, Kona. If it's still unsure, then it's probably best to just skip it. Data transfer from Lobster. Face corner data. Nearest face interpolated. Custom normals. There we go. Parmesan noodles? Ooh, those sound yummy. Just weird human interaction. Those are pretty common. I had Lobster, so I can grab that one. And then, I think, lift that edge a bit. There we go. Now if I put that back on, that should be much smoother joined to that. You have to wait for your phone to charge? That's fair, that's fair. Do I want to make those, like, longer tubes? Actually, if we do that one and then do plus, we can select all of those and then extrude off of that. Maybe shrink that down. And then reposition off this thingy. Why did that startle me so much? There we go. I think that helps smooth that out a bit. And then maybe pull that one in, or nah. Is it this one then? No, I guess that's fine. Alright, bring Lobster back. Do we want mesh, normals, reset vectors? Do we want them like that, or do we want them to where they're smoothed out? I think it makes more sense when they're not smoothed out. Reset vectors. So I think that's correct. And then we can join lobster parts. Let me apply that mirror and apply this mirror. I'm doing good. You think Friend Frick are lobsters body only, normal lobster faces are weird? I mean, they are. We're definitely going stylized lobster face here, which I think is working fairly well. We've got a reasonable lobster face, I think. Reasonably cartoonish lobster face, perhaps. There we go. Got that curved a little bit better. Eternal being silly over here. Maybe add a bit more curve to that. Yeah, I like that better. Rigging these is going to be interesting because I want the like whiskers and stuff to have physics, but I'll worry about that after I get the mesh done. Because I'm not quite sure what all I want to have physics. Do we want to do tail next or claws next, I guess is the question. Because we still have not even touched the tail either. Floppy lobster antenna? Yeah, that's about what that is, isn't it? Let's join what we have so far. Object join. Here we go. So now we've got lobster. I mean, they already have floppy antenna. Have fun, Calder. You think tail next? Tail probably won't be too difficult. It's what, 6 segments? So we'll just do add, mesh, cube, shrink that down, drag that up, scoop that over, shrink. Scale Y. Scale X, shrink that down. Scale the whole thing down. And then let's add, oh shoot, I was in object mode, wasn't I? There should be a apply transform somewhere. Scale. I swear there's a way to apply transform. Transform. Oh, apply all transforms. There we go. Yes, the default cube is same size as Minecraft block. So now we add mirror, set it to mirror on Lobster. There we go, and now we can better position these. Scale Y, shrink that down. Lift. Select top face. Scale X, shrink down. We'll actually do scale Y again, shrink that. If we can model the main shape of the tail with just the 2, that'll make it easier for us. So we probably want that to be a little bit wider, a little bit more out there. Have this edge drop down more. Have this entire face pull this way. Getting there. And then if we do a cut with 2 cuts, loop cut that way, loop cut there, and then do edge select those 2, do the bevel, and then do loop cut in each. We can then alt scale those inner ones, get that shape. Then we can grab this, drag that down a bit more. Realize we also need to do bevel on these edges, which we'll also want to do this top edge just for being cohesive. So it's better to just select those 2 faces, bevel. Did I not bevel? Was that not bevel? What did I do? That was inset. Bevel. There we go. And then I can select these 2 faces, scoot those down more. I think select from here to here. No, I need control, don't I? Not shift. There we go, those ones. And then if I do a bevel on that, Well, that's not the shape I was going for, but that works. Problem is that it has added some triangles and some weirdness. So I think we're not going to do that. We're going to select these ones. Just add a bevel to those. Which also adds a triangle and some weirdness. Why does that... Oh, because I was doing control again. There we go. That's more what I was looking for. So bevel that to get that there. Select the faces again. This time we can turn on that, shrink that down to lower the range that affects. And now we can get some more shape to these. Big radius on this so that we can get more of the curve we're expecting. Can even rotate that out a little bit, maybe move that down. All right, how's that for lobster tail? I again was not looking at a picture of an actual lobster, so I need to go do that. Oh. That is not lobster tail at all, is it? Hi, Tanny. Because lobsters definitely have like 5 thingies. So if we act like we're gonna join those, that's more lobster tail immediately. It's gonna be interesting to join those, but that's at least better. And then we could grab these guys because they have much more fanned tails. Enjoy your food. Drag those up so we have a much cleaner, higher split on these. Grab that face. Get that pulled out more. We're getting somewhere. Don't know if it's the correct place though. Oh. Thank you for the bits, Tanny. Let's hide that mirror for a little bit. And we'll get rid of these ones. Delete those faces. Good. Then get out of edit mode. Turn on clipping. Apply. Merge at center. Okay, those ones were already merged at center. So it's these two need to merge at center. Same with these upper two. There we go. And this side. There we go.
I find it funny how I can just do multiple ones.
Yes, yes you can. Add a bit of curve to that. That's starting to look like a lobster tail. Maybe we add one loop cut to each of these.
Cheer one, 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 cheer one.
I don't like Russell reading out just the bit. That feels a little bit silly. Object, set origin, origin to geometry, mesh, snap to symmetry, good. These two, have those follow in. That should help that curve quite a bit.
I'm excited for tomorrow. I get a mystery item from my throne.
I wonder what it's gonna be. There we go, follow that curve. We're getting somewhere. I think we're gonna have to break the symmetry though, so that we get it to kind of curve around the body a little bit more in this case. But I think that is looking like a lobster, possibly. Just could be a lobster. Getting it to join with the body is gonna be a little bit weird. It's already semi-convincing. Not super convincing, but semi. Vertex, smooth vertices. Mark that down. Scale. Scale Y. No, Y. Shrink that down. Maybe something a bit more like that. But at least feels a little bit more intentional with how it's joined. Why is that curved there? There we go. That should curve it more in line. Face, shade smooth. Mesh, normals, reset vectors. Edge, clear seam. Clear sharp. There we go. And then now I can select just these inner edges. And edge mark sharp. And get that as looped all the way around. So now we have the kind of tail we're expecting. Yeah, I don't think I'd want to be tail slapped by Fred. I feel like the body goes a little bit thick here. So if we grab those two, scale X, scale that up. There we go. I think that's much more in line. By Fred's tail? I don't think that'd be a bonk at that point. turn off mirror. Pull that out. Or not. Can I? Maybe this one? Not do connected only. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So that side there, and then I can pull this side in to account for that curve. Now it feels like the tail is wrapping a little bit more around me, acting kind of like a stabilizer. You kind of liked thick, Frank? I don't know. I think I like the thin, though. So we'll join that to our lobster. Join. There we go. This is coming along pretty well. We're just missing the legs and the claws. It's been an hour and 30 minutes, so like half of stream, and we've already got a good chunk done. Though that's not even accounting for the textures, the physics, the rigging, all that kind of stuff that comes along with this. So we're definitely not, like, basically done at this point. We still have a lot to do. Yes, it has been half the stream. And I don't think my stream's even gone down either, which means that we probably did fix it with the last testing stream, which I'm kind of surprised by. You're making so good. So far so good with making your food. That's good. It does kind of feel like it's been 30 minutes, but no, it's been an hour and a half or more than that at this point. We'll add cube again. I think let's do the legs this time. Scale that down. Oh wait, shoot, we're in object mode. We don't want to scale in object mode. We want to do that in the edit mode. So we don't have to do that weird apply step that we did last time. Do add mirror modifier off of Lobster. And then we want to bevel this face, smooth that out. Then we'll do an extrude on this bottom one. Probably 2 extrudes. And then another bevel. And then we select this bottommost face, grab up to there, vertex, smooth vertices. Maybe not that. Scale, there we go, that's about what I'm looking for. And then do edge, subdivide, vertex, smooth vertices. There we go. Then grab this point, this top point. Shrink that down a bit. No, I've gone too small on that. There we go. That's about what I'm looking for. Grab those, scale up, get that curve in the leg, grab lowest point, drag that down. There we go. Maybe even smooth that in a little bit. Vertex smooth vertices again. Up that. Here we go. There we go, hydrated. And if it would add more hours to the day, that would probably be a very useful ability. Face shade smooth, normals, reset vectors, edge, clear sharp. So we've got that now, and then D, and then one more. This one could be rotated out, so he's kind of balancing, though I don't want that to be connected. Maybe these ones go out a little bit more. Over that way. There we go. That kind of looks like he's sitting on my shoulder now. I mean, then I'd be bottlenecked by how much my computer could process, which I think would still stick me in trouble. Maybe rotate that like that, and then scoot that back a bit. There we go. And then if we do pose mode and lower my arm where it would normally be, yeah, that's what I was worried about. Though if we have trying to think of how we would account for that, because that's like such a big change. Go object mode, hide the armature. One option is just we scale down the entire lobster, yeah. Why is origin way down there? Object, set origin, origin to geometry. There we go. So then pull that back, pull that in, pull that down a smidge. Maybe we rotate the whole thing over a little bit to account for the kind of leaning over. Then we'll probably want to adjust this leg. Maybe something more like that. Problem is it does kind of clip with the hair weirdly there, which I don't know if we're going to be able to avoid. Now if we go start pose mode. That leaning over has it clip the legs a lot more, but I'm very rarely going to be out like that. One thing I might want to look into is setting it so that it's not actually on the armature directly and has like kind of a buffer bone or something, but I'm not sure on that. When that takes into account the position of both the arm and the shoulder. Don't know though. I'll have to see what I can do. For now, probably making it for that kind of thing is probably better. Because I'm only really raising my arm like that. Lobster's gonna have bones. Trust me on that. Lobster will have bones. Hide armature again. Object mode again. Something doesn't feel right with the top of this lobster. There we go. I think that smoothed it out a little bit. It's kind of got something silly going on here, though, that I'll probably need to fix. Something more like that, and then select these three, drag them out. These three, drag them out again. There we go, that's more in line. So now we're just missing the claws. We'll join the legs to the lobster. Oh, I forgot to apply the mirror modifier. Alright, so we'll add a cube again, because most stuff starts with a cube. I'm still in object mode. Out of edit mode, add mirror modifier, mirror of the lobster again. This is going to be a little bit harder now that the lobster is a little bit lopsided, but I'm sure we can make it work. Let's start with just raising this bit. Actually, yeah, let's start with the claw placement, and then we can make the arms to match. Bevel. Something feels weird. One needs to be skinny and one needs to be chunkier? Yeah, I guess most do have lopsided claws, don't they? We'll worry about that in a second. First things first is just figuring out where claws go. Set that to normal face, scale X. There we go, that should let us shrink those like that. One crushes and the other pinches. Mm. Eh. Hydrating. Is that the size? Turn these into quads. Just like that. Vertex, smooth vertices. There we go. Face shade smooth, mesh, normals, reset vectors, edge, clear sharp. There we go, starting somewhere. And then I can select these edges to do a rip on. There we go. So that should make the split in the claws. Would the top part be the longer part? It's like that. Drag that back, drag that one back. Starting to get somewhere, I feel like. Bah? What's bah about, Kona? You're lazy? That's fair. Lazy isn't necessarily bad. Grab that one. Grab that. Like that. Vertex smooth vertices again, I think. Like that. That's fair. Shouldn't stress yourself out too much. Here I go, extra hydrate. Because I don't know if I did that one earlier. So we will fill that side. Then grab these 4 vertices, fill those. Those ones. And to fill that last bit. Then I should also be able to do that and then I think inset faces. Yeah. And then I can do select these two and then extrude up a bit. get that kind of edge. And same with these two. Oh yeah, that doesn't sound good. Hi Dip, how you? Are we still on normal here? Scale Z? No. Scale Y? No. Scale X? There we go. That should let us do narrower claws. We definitely have a bit of silliness going on there. Oops, not extrude. Scale C? No. Y? Hang on, set that to individual origins. Scale Y? Scale X? C? No? Global? There we go. And then scale Z. No? Turn off that. And that is set to individual origin. Scale Z. There we go. Now it's more even. But that doesn't really affect the rest of them, does it? There we go. We can at least even that out a bit. I mean, you are used to seeing me in VR where you can actually poke my face and nose and stuff. So I guess that makes sense. Scale bounding back center, scale X. Maybe just scale. There we go. That makes it a little bit beefier. Very nice, Gold. You want to try making a VR chat model? There is a lot that goes into that. I highly recommend picking up a base that someone else has made and using that first, so that you can learn like all of the different pieces that you need and such. We're just gonna smooth this like this. That should help make this feel a bit more rounded and such. The normals do look a little bit wonky. Mesh, normals, reset vectors. There we go. That helps a little bit. I feel like that needs to pull out. I both have, it's a geometric, or it's a organic shape and shouldn't feel exact, but also it feels a little wrong. Hydrating. Oh, all done. Okay, I hope your food tastes good, Gold. And yeah, there are quite a few free models out there. They can be a little bit of a pain to work with depending on which one you get, but that's a whole different thing. Both claws feel small. They're rather small. We can very easily just scale them up to like there. Maybe we rotate them more that way. Rotate up a little bit. There we go. I think that feels slightly better positioned. Though they are also just huge on the emotes. Huge claws. Sculpting again. Let's try smoothing out this bottom one a bit. And then we could try using the inflate on this side. Though we gotta be careful about which angle we do inflate from. I think that works. And then layout. Set that to connected only. Let's do inset claws a little bit like their closed claws. Actually, no. We'll leave the claws open. I would like to add a little bit of physics to the claws, so like they'll open and close as it moves a little bit. Have fun, Gold. And I'm planning on trying to make the claws dangle. Welcome back, Orange. How are you? We have most of a lobster. We're just trying to make the claws make sense now. Add another cube, I think. Scale that down. Scale down. Up. Down. Extrude this face. Hi Beast, how you? Let's do loop there. Pseudo animated. I'm not gonna give it a proper animation, but I do plan on adding some physics to it if I can. So as I move around, it'll kind of have its claws open and close if I can, and it's the little whiskers will sway with it. Kind of like how my hair does. Where it's just not properly animated, but the movement gives it motion type thing. That's at least the end goal. I'm not entirely sure if I'll fully get there, but we'll try. Scale that down, shrink, rotate that more, rotate that to be that way a bit. And then edge, bring that one out, up, rotate out. Scale that down a smidge, bring that forward, over, then maybe extrude, scale down again. And then we could do loop cut along there and along there. Whoop, I didn't want to select everything, I want to just select this piece of the mesh. Vertex, smooth vertices. There we go. That should get it more arm feeling. And then face shade smooth, shade smooth, mesh normals, reset vectors, edge mark sharp should help that a bit. Tug back slightly. I feel like lobster claw should be lower. So maybe something like that. It's a little bit funny, but it kind of works. Are we gonna have to do another ring around it like I did on the other ones? That might help it. I think also pulling this out might help. Bringing that elbow further along.
Okay, be a bad boy and watch me find it out for myself.
Maybe we apply this mirror modifier, select this claw, turn on proportional edit, and then just lower this one. Oh wait, this is set to connected. We want that not connected. But we want that lower. And we'll just fix that. Something like that where it's a little bit lower, and then grab center point from here, drag that down. Maybe a little bit bigger of a ring to pick up more of that. Set that to connected only again, so it only affects arm. Something like that. I think that kind of works. Alright, we also wanted one of these to be larger. I feel like this one should be the larger one. Like that, maybe? So it's not too crazy of a difference, but it's just enough. Are we happy with that? Do we want to tweak any more of that? I'm still debating if I want to do the kind of loop thing that we did on the other ones or not. I'm not sure it needs it. It's just a little bit silly on this side, but we could also try grabbing this side and just scooting forward. Yeah, I think that solved it. I think that solved my issue. So I think that's pretty good. Is there anything that feels off to you guys? Aside from the fact that it's not textured in the slightest. We still have to do the UV map. You just ran out of ramen? That's a shame. I think the number of vertices on that is still fine. So I guess let's join the claws to the lobster. And then we can start adding the rig. The elbows look a bit sharp. They're kind of supposed to. Oh, but I could do, grab that, bevel it. And then do loop cut in the middle. Select these edge loops. Edge clear sharp. Those ones alt scale down. Turn off the proportional editing. So there's like a little bit there, and then edge mark sharp. There we go. That's more what I was looking for, where it looks like it's kind of a joint there. Let's scale that up a bit. I think that looks better. Yeah. So I think I'm happy with that. Now we can add armature, single bone. Call this one Lobster. Oop. Lobster armature. Add lobster to lobster armature. And then on this, we add a modifier for an armature that's going to join to armature lobster. That one. And then we go into edit mode for this. And then we can have found out that the model you want to make as a VR chat model doesn't have any bones. Ah, yeah. I would highly recommend a base that is already set up with the bones and stuff functioning, because even just doing that part of it is pretty insane. Given that you have to do proportions correctly, because if you don't, then you have arm span problems and all kinds of things, and it's just meh. And then you also have to have, like, humanoid-specific armature setup and a whole bunch of other things that just have a lot of problems. So it's a whole lot easier if you just start with one that functions as is. And then you can learn from it. I forgot to set this to be in front. And then we want this to display as render as wire. There we go. So this will be our root bone that will be placed roughly in the middle of our lobster. Bring that down. Bring this up. So we'll call this bone root. And then off of our root, we're gonna put one like there, make sure it's roughly centered. And then just do that. And then we can remove this bit. And this can be our tailbone. And then now if we select this, go into object mode, go into weight paint. Now that we have our tail selected, oh, we should actually do root first and do just everything red. Big radius. Just everything should be covered here. Here, we'll even hide me for this to make sure that we've got everything good. The last thing I want is any part of this lobster just staying behind. That should not be the case. Now is that all good? Okay, that looks all good. So now we can select the tailbone that currently has nothing on it. And then we can do tail. Might even want to subdivide the tail. And we'll just smooth out this for now. And then if we rotate this left and right, we've got something. Oh, hang on. I know what we've got. Weights, normalize all, lock active, all groups. There we go. Because I forgot to turn on the auto normalize. So now we've got this silliness happening, which is not quite what we want. Turn on auto normalize so that doesn't happen again though. And then if we do average around here, that should average between the two, which should help us. And now if we rotate, that goes quite a bit better than original. But that's still not quite what I want. Can I do a gradient? Would a gradient help us here? I will turn on this, so then we can select just the parts that we want to affect, because we don't want this to affect the legs or anything. And then now if we use our gradient tool, we should be able to get a much smoother effect. That has definitely affected the face too much, so we'll bring out subtract. Just get rid of face side. None of that here. Maybe even smooth out that a little bit. That's feeling more lobster tail-like, but I feel like it goes too high up now. So if we do that same one, strength 0, gradient this way? No? Do we need to change? Okay, so that's on subtract. That should be fine. Okay, yeah, that is on subtract. Weight, turn way down. No. Strength, turn way down too. We're getting somewhere, kind of. Maybe what we do is just get rid of everything again. Be a bit more mindful of where we're doing this. So if we do add gradient, hang on, if we do maybe this way first. So now we can get a bit higher, that's a bit lower. And then next here can go to about there. And we can get that there. Is that looking better? Yesn't. The two bone might be the way to go. Because that'll get it curving a little bit more than it currently is. But I'm also... part of me likes this. Part of me likes that kind of way of doing it. So I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Do we want nice curved 2-1 or do we want the silliness that is this? Oh, it's also important to look at it this way. Oh, and I've got that doing stuff up there. I need to get rid of the stuff on this one. I smell like I hug lobsters because I do. You guys make me hug lobsters. Go object mode. Not edit mode. We need pose mode. Reset is clear transform. Well, there we go. You like the goofy? You also like the goofy. Okay, so we'll stick with the goofy then. If you guys are happy with that goofy, that works. Now we just need to add ones for. I think we'll do a basic one for the head. So if we extrude it out to there, basic head can go there. Delete that bone. This probably needs to shift a little bit more that way. There we go. You dozed off. I am glad my stream is relaxing, and you need the rest, Danny. there's head, and then let's add another one for jaw. Head, jaw. Jaw can scoot over a little bit. I do want to add them to my VRChat model. The hesitance that I have is setting up the toggle correctly and such. So it'll probably take a bit to make them VRChat ready. Heck, I'm not even entirely sure how I put them as props for VNyan that I use for my tracking. But I do want to get them on both eventually. Alright, so then best way of doing these is probably just to extrude to there and then extrude to there. And now do side view and pull them into lineup. Something like that. Should get roughly what I'm looking for out of this. Actually, maybe this one should be subdivided. There we go. So that's a little bit more true and will result in a little bit better of a thing. And this one goes extrude out to there, to there. Now we line it up again. This one, armature subdivide. Line that up there, and then other side, line that up there. Alright, so now I can remove these two bones. And this one is going to be whisker L. And this one will be whisker R. Whisker dot O1 underscore L. Select that. And this one will be O2. Dot O1. Dot O2. Alright. So that should be the rig. I don't think... Do lobsters blink? Surely they blink. I don't know how they blink. Oh, if I add eye bones, I could shrink the eyes on the Z-axis, and that would probably result in the blink. So I guess let's try something like that. So we'll put one there. Extrude from that point. Extrude both of those up. And then this one. They don't, but I swear I've seen them do like this weird little thing where they move their little eye stalks so that they can get sand or whatever is in them out of them. I could be wrong. So that one's going to be IL. And this one is going to be IR. In the worst case, we have some eye bones, and that's fine. So we've now got our rig for the face. Let's see if we can actually get that weighted properly. So we're gonna start with selecting the head bone. We're actually gonna... Alright, we'll have to go into edit mode to select those. We'll select head bone, do that, go into edit mode. We'll mark that edge as a seam to make our selecting a lot easier. Now if we do that and select on seam, we can now select all of these pieces without worry. Get out of edit mode, and those are all synced up nicely. So now if we join these all on that, I feel like that needs a little bit smoother around this edge. I want like just this to not really move. Okay. Under the body now. There we go. So now that we have that there, how does that look? Very silly. I think what we're gonna do is we're going to select around that ring so we now have access to that. Get out of edit mode and just smooth this out if I can. Is it not gonna let me? Why blur no work? Average works. Why does blur not? Oh, because blur strength is on 0. That'd do it. Then we'll go into edit mode, select 2 more just to give us more wiggle room. Blend that out more. Because we kind of want this to go all the way up the body a little bit. Kind of like he's shifting around on our shoulder to accommodate where he's looking. There we go. So now, if we do rotate, that looks a lot better. Yeah, that feels way better. I do want to get, probably not a shift in the legs, but maybe in those upper arms, in these sections here. I do an average? No. We'll do a add, but turn the strength way down. I could do that. I could make their claws respawn. Well, actually, no. I don't know if I can do that now that I say that. That is that is a little bit too high of a technical level for where I'm at with this kind of thing, I think. I feel like that should, in theory, be possible. Doesn't mean I have any idea how to do it. Alright, let me hydrate. You done? 2, 3, 4. There we go. Done. Alright, 3 more. 1, 2, 3. And an extra small one. Because I think I might have miscounted non-clicking things. It is important to hydrate. There we go. That looks like it's responding well. That might mean that I want to put the claws as a child to the head, but I'm not sure. Because I do like it. I do like it shifting to account for it, but I don't want the claws to be completely tied to it. So I don't know. Now let's do jaw next. Wait, how is that managed to loop there? Oh, because it goes towards the center there. Okay. So we're just going to select like those two and then do plus. Never mind. We're going to select the 2 here and do plus. Get rid of those. Add there to there. Wasn't the path I was expecting it to take, but that works. There we go. Tanny, I wouldn't want you to spend money on hydrates. Hence why I'm not telling you how you can, because there is a way. It's a roundabout way, but there is a way. I think you're the only one that would super help Eternal. I don't know many others that have the crazy amount of hydrates you do. Or not hydrates, points you do. Right, smooth weights. Up that factor a bit. There we go. There we go. That feels more like a jaw. So now we've got the jaw handled. You think it needs to go further back on the chin? Maybe? Number one random guy, thank you for the sub. Oh, it was Tanny. Wait, Tanny, why are you gifting subs? Tanny! That's not how you get hydrates. What was the timing on that? But frickin' Tanny, save your money. I yelled about you, right? I yelled at you about this last stream. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what were you asking if it was not that much Eternal? Tokens? You have like 17 or something last I checked. I don't quite remember. Well, I was not aware of Gift Sub doing that. I guess I'm glad I know now. I wish it wasn't Tanny that taught me that. Well, I guess Lemonade taught me that, but still. You know what I mean. What do we think about that one? Is that good? I think it's because you kept getting like little random ones of like just you were actually productive in the productive channel and stuff like that. I think I'll leave that as it is. Go on to these ones now. Do add. Should be strength all the way up for this. Though actually, it should match the head there a little bit. So on that one, base should match head. Do there and then smooth out there. So that should work. And then grab that one. How does that feel so far? That definitely needs a smoother on that. Of course you crave violence, Eternal. I do find it funny that I actually had to tell YouTube that one of your comments was fine. Because it was one of those I crave violence type ones. And it's like, okay, they're not actually trying to instigate violence here. They're just being silly. How do I know that Eternal isn't instigating violence? It's Eternal. And yes, really. I didn't even realize that it was being held for a while, because I'm just not used to looking in the held comments. You hunger for cuddles? Of course you do, Kona. Oops, I didn't mean to select that one. Alright. So then select these bones. Weight smooth. Selected pose bones. Like that.
Something I'm scared of, I suppose. Monsters. There are many types of monsters in this world. Monsters who will not show themselves and who cause trouble. Monsters who abduct children. Monsters who devour dreams. Monsters who
This
suck blood.
one should be smoothed there more.
Monsters who always tell lies. Lying monsters are a real nuisance.
Yes. Das Namster Biscuit. That's probably good enough for that. Select this. Now to do the same setup on this one. Oh, I'm getting squished. It's always funny whenever people realize just how cat-like I am. 'Cause there's always something that is just like being squished. I like being squished. I don't like being ducked though. Well, actually no, it depends on context. Because Net's very good at rubber duck debugging, and I guess you count that as ducking too? I don't know. Yes, Kona, I said ducking. It is funny seeing how people react to me saying ducking. This one needs more smoothing on it. And then probably this last one too. Smoothing up through here. Here we go. Does that look the same on both? No. I think this needs more smoothing up it. Deep fried cat? No, do not deep fry the cat. There we go. I think now that looks even. Oh, no, why am I boxed? Yep. Lift. Box. Cooperate. Lift. Box. Yeah. I just have armholes in it. There we go. Yes, cuddle cats. Cats like cuddles. Well, not all cats. I like cuddles. Ah! Fox again? Ah! Why the Kona combo? Because Kona did it. Pose mode. Pose, clear, transform all. There we go. Oh, and then we still have to do eyes. I forgot we have eyes as well. So that one, go edit mode. Just select that. That one. Add. And then repeat the process for the other eye, I think. Alright. So now if we do a scale Z, yeah, there we go. So scale Z would give like impression of blinking without having to actually blink. Oops. And then I can even do rotate to look around or have it like wobble lightly with the head movement. Whatever we want to do with that one. So now that's good. Jaw is good. Stretch lobster. I mean, I could do stretch. I don't think that's recommended though. Looks a little bit silly. Stretch. Accordion lobster. Or lobster stretch. I don't know if it's going to stretch how you think it will. Because I don't know on those. Keep in mind that Fred and Frank are not shapeshifters. They're just lobsters. I mean, as far as we know anyways. Let's see. Do I need to add physics to the claws, or would the claws just be resting against me? Because I feel like we've probably got enough motion with everything else that I'm not sure we need the claws. It might be better to have them stay stationary. I mean, they will change from the second dimension to the third. You are not wrong with that. But that does not mean that they are shapeshifters. Could very well still just be lobsters. Oh, and tail should not be on that side. I'm glad I double-checked that. There we go. So removed the extra tail from there. So tail functions as it should. Eyes still rotate as they should. Head can look around. I wish I could actually make them do that, but I don't know if I can do proper animations like that. I think I'm gonna leave the claws alone. I feel like there'll be enough movement with just physics that it'll be fine. So next bit we need to do is the UVs and the textures. We've gotten surprisingly far. Let's see. That mark seam there. Mark seam. Why do you imagine Eternal inside of Frank? And we'll do a split there. Mark seam. Oh, also we should mark these edges as sharp. Mark sharp. And then these inner ones probably also mark sharp. There we go. And then we can do mark UVs at each of these spots. Mark seam. There we go. So that should be the body split. Now we just need to worry about the rest of these. I think we'll do cuts at the back of the eyes. Edge. Mark seam. And then in these guys, probably match the back of the eyes. Edge, mark seam. Oh, do I even want these ones? Yes I do. Okay. But I can do a delete faces probably and be fine. Yeah, okay. Deleting faces is fine, and that clears up some geometry and be good. Oop. Alright. Hydrating. 2, 3. Marking those off. Oop. Wrong button. There we go. Okay. Now then, I probably also need to do clearing some geometry here. Delete those vertices. And then select that one and that one. There we go. Delete those vertices so we get rid of those extra ones. We can do the seams on these on that point and on that point. Edge, mark seam. Here we go. And then have that. I think we'll also add, do we want to add a seam on there? Maybe not. Thank you very much, Gold. Hopefully we can avoid the occurrence of last time. I think there and there for these last seams. Edge, mark seam. Oh, though that one doesn't go to the end of this, so maybe not those. Maybe we do that seam and I need to hide myself. There we go. That seam and that seam. Oh, that has gotten both sides though, hasn't it? Yep. We'll chase this up. I think it's to that one. Good, good. So then starting at that one, I should be able to chase that across and end up at the same place on the other side. Yeah, that does complicate getting people to raid. There we go. Edge, mark seam. There we go. That should be a good seam throughout that. Now we just need to add seams to the arms and claws. Mark seam. And then we'll do like this back edge, or actually we'll do this center edge because no one is going to see that. That thing is going to be covered so much of the time. Oh, I didn't even select the right one on this side. That one. Edge, mark seam. Then we'll loop around those parts of the claws. Did that to the inside? It did not. We definitely want that inner seam too. That one as well as the, nope, that one. Twitch keeps freezing. That's no good. Is it doing that for anyone else or is that just Lemonade? Edge, mark seam. Okay, not happening to orange. So it's probably just Lemonade's internet then. Mark seam there. And I can also mark those as sharp. And mark the outer ones as sharp too. There we go. Do we like the sharp on the claws? Wait, why are you screaming, Tanny? Okay. As long as it's not something going wrong, I guess we're fine. I have noticed the claws are a little bit silly. If I fix that one and then drag that one in a bit, maybe that one in a bit. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. Sort of, not quite. Wait, you want to, but you can't. I am very confused, Tanny. Oh, your voice. Ah, yeah. Yeah, screaming would not help a lost voice, that's for sure. Alright, so I think that's modeled. Now if we go to UV editing, and then we unwrap our lobster. UV unwrap. We've got some weird cubes. Oh, I forgot to put stuff on the tails. So those are probably the tails. How do we want to split the tails then? Probably along these sharps. Edge. Mark seam. And then also layout. Let's go remove some geometry from this part, because we do not need this many faces on this side. Not when none of these will be seen. Oop. Delete faces. We do have a little bit of trickiness going on here, but we should be no keyword, be able to just drag that in. There we go. Can even select these two, shrink along the y-axis to get stuff even pulled in more. There we go. That looks fine. What happens if you select and then scale everything to 0 on the y-axis? Well, I can show you that. So if I do that, scale y 0, it just goes flat. And from this front, it just has a lot of Z fighting then. It's kind of the same thing that happens when you see me scale myself across, like, the Z axis to be flat. Let's see. So we want to tweak some of this final topology on the tail, I think. Actually, no. Let's see what it looks like when we unwrap again. UV unwrap. Okay, I thought I fixed the tail. What are those then? Are those not tail? Okay, so those are not tail, because that's tail. Oh, it's legs. I didn't do UV things on the legs. Not sculpting, we need layout mode, tab. Basically want from there to there. Do we want like that? We'll try like that first. Edge, mark seam. Otherwise we break it up like a box. That would also work, but I think that's basically what it's got currently, which is not very helpful. Beans. I mean, these are technically lobster toe beans. Alright. So now we've got that. Select all. UV editing. UV unwrap. Okay. So we've got something now. I think that's tail shenanigans going on there. Yeah. We've got some kind of tail silliness happening. You like the idea of a sentient plushie? I mean, that's just a pet then, is it not? Okay, so it's not that one. Okay, so it's these ones that are being silly. I think what I do is I just select along these edges and add some extra cuts. Maybe down to that one. Because no one's really going to pay attention to these ones either. Edge, mark seam, UV unwrap. There we go. That feels more sensible. I mean, that just sounds like a great way to get them very angry at you if you set them on fire. Isn't that how frickin' hide and seek alone starts? Or no, I think that's stabbing them. Alright. So I think we've got the UVs done. Now let's do modifier, add modifier. Can I even mirror the whole thing? Let's try copy, paste this one, object mirror X global. Well, that's mirrored the armature. What about mirroring the mesh? Oh, did I didn't select the mesh when I copied that, did I? So call this one Frank. Frank. This one Fred. And then this one Fred. And then select all of that, object, mirror, X global. There we go. So now I've got a lobster on both shoulders. Hi Voltron! We are working on Frank and Fred and we're almost done. Well, almost done with the mesh. We still have to do all of the textures and setting it up for working in VNeon and all that stuff. And most sentient things would react to being on fire. And of course double lobster. We've got Fred and Frank. Though right now no one's rolled for Fred being on my shoulder, so we just have Frank on my shoulder. There we go, hydrated. I mean, it does. I can go into pose mode and just put both arms down. There we go. Yeah, 2 is not high enough for Fred. Mesh, normal, recalculate outside, just to make sure that that's correctly set up.
Okay, be a bad boy and watch me find it out for myself.
So we'll put this one... I've realized that I haven't saved this entire time, which is a little bit scary. Folder models. Lobsters. Save one file. There we go. I really need to add a save redeem for you guys so that you guys can shout at me. And luckily we didn't have a crash today. Otherwise it would have been exactly that case. And yes, that is enough for Fred. So let me put on Fred. There we go. Now we have Fred. It'll be super cool to see them 3D on my shoulders. I think I'm pretty happy with that layout. With the size of... They're actually quite a bit bigger than they are currently, aren't they? I have not seen Chainsaw Man. Depends on who's doing it. Because back rubs are basically always nice, unless it's like someone really creepy. But belly rubs, you need specific person. I realize that's a very cat-like answer, isn't it? Yeah. I should have them talk for donos? I don't know if I can do that. I know I've seen people have like characters that talk for them. So it's technically possible, but we do have Russell, but Russell's voice isn't Fred or Frank's voice. I also need to make Yeet the spider at some point. Yeet doesn't show up enough. Is there anything that feels off about these guys? I feel like something's a little bit off. Maybe it's that they're still too big. But they are kind of just designed to be size. Like they fit right over top and stuff. Here, let me hide the armatures so that you guys can see a little bit better. What do we think? Are we happy with them? I think I'll probably proceed with what we've got then. We are past time at this point. You think slightly smaller? We can try slightly smaller. Actually, let's even try this one. Go into pose mode for that. Scale that down. So how small? Like that's about where it starts clipping. But we could also pull tail out further to help with that clipping and then scale down a little bit more. So something like that where it's that small. That really is just slightly smaller, isn't it? Okay. So that is a scale of 0.931. So if we apply pose as rest pose, and then go to the Fred armature and repeat the same process. Pose mode, this one, scale 0.931. And then rotate this to be out just enough that it's not clipping. Pose, apply, pose as rest pose. What? Why did that not? Pose, apply, apply. What? Why are you not? Did the other one apply? Why is nothing applying? Okay, well, the other one didn't apply either, so I don't know why they aren't. Wait, maybe it is? I'm so confused. We're just gonna Control Z until I'm sure that neither of them are scaled. So let's just select everything and then set that to individual origins, scale 0.931, and then lift up into place. There we go. That's more lined up. And then scoot back slightly. There we go. that look right? Yeah. Alright. So then now we need to make sure that we select all of these and actually apply that transform because we did that in object mode. So that's going to be scale, right click, no, object, apply, all transforms. That has messed with this one, which we just need to do mesh, normals, recalculate outside. There we go, now that's fixed. What is the bump at the bottom of the t-shirt? It's either my stomach or I have just messed up the sculpting somewhere along the way, because that's not too far off of what I did earlier. And streams that I could do your chore. Okay, well I should be wrapping up stream, so thank you for the reminder. Let me just save that again. And then OD Guardian playing Valheim is who we're going to go raid. Let me go see that I can actually pull them up. Yep, I do in fact see them playing Valheim. So I'm pretty sure I have the right person. Let me start setting up that raid. And then we will be back on Thursday. Thursday we are going to be doing more of the We Were Here series with Anarchy. We're going to be doing We Were Here together. And based on what I've heard, that's probably the only game we're getting to that stream. I know last time we did We Were Here and We Were Here 2. But I believe We Were Here together takes longer. So I'm excited for that. It'll be more of the puzzly stuff, which I am very much enjoying those after we did the escape room with Detective Baxton as well. That was very fun. So I'm looking forward to more puzzly type games, which means I should probably do more Portal next week too. I still haven't decided what I'm doing next week. I might have to do another poll for that. I'm not sure. Because I do have more Portal mods that I could play. Yes, very fun, very fun. And I will see you guys on Thursday. Do Isnia!